the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news. Tonight we celebrate some of the many transgender voices in our community with a transgender special takeover episode. So it's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Thursday, May 19th, 2022, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell you this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you'll see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the partnership between Happening Out Television Network and Hotspots Magazine. Hotspots is celebrating 36 years of LGBTQ plus experience. We bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support of our community.
I'm your anchor at Queer News Tonight, Rajee Narine-Singh. Let's welcome trans student advocate, Evyn Almanzar. Did I get that right, babe?
Almanzar.
Evyn is a high school freshman that has been publicly speaking out for years. Evyn is an advocate for mental health and queer student rights, a lover of writing and nature who often enjoys both at the same time. Evyn said, "On Queer News Tonight, I want to make people hear us as a student body as well as a member of the LGBTQ plus community and let them know how they can help." Evyn was also a member of the Don't Say Gay rally this last February. Welcome, Evyn. It's great to have you back.
I've been gone a little bit. Yeah, I'm excited to be back.
And you look fabulous.
Thank you. You too. All right, let's welcome Dr. Dee Weitzer, an attending psychiatrist who has spoken at national conferences, appeared on ABC News, and has over 25 publications focusing on gay, lesbian, bisexual, and queer mental health. Welcome, Dee.
Thank you. All right, let's welcome anchor Franchesca D'Amore. Love that name. Her vision is to extend education and support on behalf of the homeless, the arts, and the LGBTQ plus community. Currently a proud board member of the Safe Schools South Florida and a former board member of the Hollywood LGBTQ plus Council, she is also the entertainment consultant for My Hollywood Pride 2023. A quote from her, quote, "If I can inspire even one person to boldly live their truth, my job is done," end quote. Love that quote. Good evening, Franchesca.
Thanks, Dee. I'm really excited to talk about Safe Schools South Florida. We have an upcoming fundraiser in, I think, September. It's called Kaleidoscope.
That's awesome.
So keep your ears open for that.
That's wonderful.
And also My Hollywood Pride. Its second is going to be January of 2023. So come on out and see us.
We're looking forward to it.
Thanks. Let's welcome anchor Lana Summers. A Fort Lauderdale-based artist, Lana Summers doesn't sit still for long. When she's not hitting the stage, she's seducing the camera. Lana has blended her love for performing and the spotlight across an array of mediums. Welcome, Lana.
We are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of queer news for today. Thursday, May 19th. Today is also a Gender Pride Day.
Queer Up Politics. 2022 GOP candidates unleash wave of starting transgender culture war. This past Tuesday, the 5th, 5 different states held their midterm primaries. Leading up to those primaries, mostly held in conservative states, GOP candidates weaponized the anti-trans settlement that has become so popular with a series of advertisements targeting our community.
Sex changes for kids? That's going way too far.
An 8-year-old child decides, I want to be transgender.
Hormone treatment and surgery is dangerous for children. What won't Joe Biden support? Vote against Joe Biden, a pawn of the extreme left.
I guess I got a little rattled because I tell you, it's horrible what the Republicans are doing. They're really using us as a scare tactic. You know, I really do feel that's what they're using the community as, to make the far-right conservatives fearful. It's almost like if we don't pull the reins in, this is what our country's going to turn into.
Yeah, it's really scary with the whole Don't Say Gay bill as well. I was up in Tallahassee with a bunch of kids, and it was just really disheartening to see how people, our representatives, politicians and people in the GOP that are supposed to be representing all people, just didn't even want to listen to anything we said.
Yeah, I have no idea what I just watched. That was, I don't even know. I just did my testosterone shot today, and last time I checked, it was not that scary. Like,
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't understand why they demonize everything, you know, and just they build it up to be something that it really isn't. They make it so negative when transitioning is honestly, I think it's a really beautiful thing, and I'm glad that I've had the opportunity and that I'm lucky enough to go through with this. And if the GOP wants to take to the TVs, we should as well, you know?
Yeah.
Like, we can...
Exactly. Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's
us as
powerful.
a generation, we have the power to take to the TVs and to social media as well, because now that we have, social media is so prominent in our culture now, that is our primary way of communication, and that's what we should be doing.
I think it's important for people to really utilize the media to make sure that all these issues over time get better. I think it's horrible that politicians, they're pretty much going to do whatever they want to get the popular vote, no matter who it hurts. And me as a mental health physician, and seeing the problem is when politicians say certain things, that kind of becomes the stigma and the new labels in society, and then that creates a whole other assortment of problems. And I wish, you know, I think the best way is kind of fight power with power, which is what, you know, what we represent and what we're doing here. So I think over time, hopefully these issues will get better as more trans people come out, more awareness and education on the topics are provided, just like things have changed over, you know, in the trans community the last 10 years. I remember 10 years ago, you know, insurances weren't really on board. So I think that things will hopefully change. It's a little bit disheartening to see this, but this is kind of the way with politics, and I think fight power with power.
Yeah, that's so true. It's almost like a tug of war, you know what I mean? And so we just have to keep fighting.
Politics
we really
have
do.
become it's just a popularity game.
Yeah.
So
It's
It is.
all about getting the vote.
what's the best way to gain popularity?
Create fear.
Oh,
And
yes.
there's nothing
Yeah.
to be afraid of. which
Exactly.
I don't even get why people are buying this BS.
And when
you
you're
know?
afraid of something, what do you want to do? You want to run from it, or you
Yeah.
want to destroy it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anyway, but Dee, what do you have to say next?
Thank you so much, Rajee. Next up, courts. Federal judge strikes down Tennessee transgender bathroom sign law. On Tuesday, a federal judge struck down a law in Tennessee that would require businesses to post warning signs if they allow transgender people into their restrooms. U.S. District Judge Alita A. Trauger said when she blocked the law, quote, "It would be a disservice to the First Amendment to judge the act for anything other than what it is, a brazen attempt to single out trans-inclusive establishments and force them to parrot a message that they reasonably believe would sow fear and misunderstanding about the very transgender Tennesseans whom those establishments are trying to provide with some semblance of a safe and welcoming environment," end quote.
Oh, I love that judge.
I know, I want to talk to her right now.
Yeah.
Give her a hug.
Thank God. I mean, you know, it's a shame that we still have to feel ostracized. And I think they're trying to figure out any way they can do that, you know, and also punish people that want to support us.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's almost like if they plaster signs around the restaurant or whatever, the establishment, people that are anti-trans may not go there, so they'll lose business. So it's almost like, let's hurt the supporters of the trans people in their pockets.
And I honestly, I really don't understand it, because last time I checked, I go into the restroom to use the restroom. And more times than not, I am more afraid to step into that bathroom than the people in the bathroom are afraid of me.
Sure.
So why should we be isolated from that? You know, why should there be a sign saying that I can use this bathroom? It's like they're giving me a gift. No, I just have to pee.
Yeah, it's a human right.
need.
Exactly.
Like, let me pee.
Exactly.
It's
like it's a warning sign on like a box of cigarettes. It's crazy. That's
do you know, I
dehumanizing.
still, there's times where I'm out and I sometimes I will just hold, you know, my urine and
I
not
do that
go
most days
just
at school.
Yeah, just not to create a scene or anything. I mean, I feel like I definitely belong in the ladies' room. But I'm just saying, you know, I know how people can be. So, and this is a basic human right, y'all. Everyone has a right to be able to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Come on.
And not have to walk into the bathroom holding their breath.
Yes.
Theirs.
And you are just such a strong young man.
Right. We should be holding our breath for other reasons, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God! Our breath in our nose, right?
Absolutely. Oh my
Evan.
Oh my goodness. All right. Let's queer up LGBTQ plus civil rights. Doctor smacks down GOP congressman in hearing by asking, what's a woman? Recently, the House Judiciary Committee held a hearing that was held to address how the Supreme Court is going to overturn Roe v. Wade. North Carolina Republican Representative Dan Bishop tried to trip up Dr. Yashika Robinson, who is on the Board of Physicians for Reproductive Health, by asking, quote, in your written testimony, I noticed that you use she, her pronouns. You're a medical doctor. What's a woman? End quote. She replied that she uses she, her pronouns because some people who might get pregnant may not identify that way. Bishop asked if that was a comprehensive of a definition as she could give. Robinson replied, quote, that's as comprehensive of a definition as I will give you today, because I think that it's important that we focus on what we're here to talk about. And it's about access to abortion, end quote. Watch this.
Dr. Robinson, I noticed in your written testimony, you said that you use she, her pronouns. You're a medical doctor. What's a woman?
It's important for you to understand why I said I use she, her pronouns.
Well,
It's because I understand that
I'm
there
explaining,
are people.
I was explaining why I'm asking the question, but I'd just like to get an answer to the question. What's a woman?
I think it's important that we educate people like you about why we're doing the things that we do. And so the reason that I use she and her pronouns is because I understand that there are people who become pregnant that may not identify that way. And I think it is discriminatory to speak to people or to call them in such a way as they desire not to be called.
Thanks for that
So
explanation.
it's
Can you
important
answer-
that we respect each individual person.
Are you going to answer my question? Can you answer the question, what's a woman?
I'm a woman. And I will ask you, which pronouns do you use?
Can you
If you
provide?
tell me that you use she and her pronouns,
that-
I'm going to answer you, I'm going to call you Mr. Bishop. I'm going to respect you for how you want me to address you.
I'm just saying, so you give me an example of a woman, you say that you are a woman. Can you tell me,
think that is
otherwise,
a-
can you tell me what a woman is?
Yes, I'm telling you, I'm a woman.
Is that as comprehensive a definition as you can give me?
That's as comprehensive as a definition as I will give you today,
I see.
because I think that it's important that we focus on what we're here for, and it's to talk about access to
I see.
abortion
So you're not
care
interested
and
in
how
answering the
important
question
this
I asked
right
unless
is.
Ooh, he's annoying.
Crazy.
I loved her answer. I'm a
Yeah.
woman. I loved her answer.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, okay. I'm not going to speak for women because I'm not a woman. So I'm going to leave this to the rest of you. But women means something different to everybody. Yes or no?
Yeah.
I definitely agree.
I think society has also made it that way, that there's like a stringent definition of woman, and that's why I think a lot of non-binary people and trans folks like us have a hard time because we don't fit into that quote unquote established definition of a
Right.
woman. And
Because
we saw
what he should be asking is to define sex, not
Right.
gender.
exactly.
Exactly.
So
Yeah, it's like, that strict binary, the strict binary. And I think a lot of trans people and gender nonconforming people, it's like almost like a gender war,
It
a
is.
tug of war. I mean, I remember from 4 years old feeling like I didn't fit in and the name calling and all of that. So that's when that started. But I am just so happy that she came and she came strong. I mean, she
Carried
let them
herself
have,
very
yes.
well.
We need more people like her in the medical community because he was trying to intimidate her. He wasn't even letting her talk. And if you notice, the whole thing that spurred on that conversation was the use of she, her pronouns, which is something that I want to talk about because a lot of people in society, they understand why they should do it, but they don't. And people just glaze over it. Oh, maybe, if I use the wrong pronoun, sorry. And I think it's not. I think it's a lot bigger of an issue than that, even more than social. So I come from obviously the medical community, and in the medical community, if you kind of insult someone through their pronouns and you don't even mean to, the patient, it means a lot more than social. It can impact their healthcare. They might not even tell you about their sexual identity, which is going to impact their medical treatment.
Right.
So I think that even when this congressman glazed over the pronouns, it kind of gave that hint that maybe it doesn't matter, but I'm giving an example where it really does, even more from a societal standpoint, from a medical standpoint.
Yeah, and also from a mental, because as a trans person, if I'm misgendered, it does bother me.
Yeah.
It does bother me. And so,
It's like people are making assumptions, which is one of the most hurtful things. If you don't know, ask.
Exactly. And you know what I liked when she says, well, I am a woman. You know what it comes down to? It comes down to how a person identifies.
How you feel.
And yeah, and when she threw it back at him and says, okay, so are you a man? And
What
I'm
are
not
your
quote-
pronouns?
Yeah, what are your pronouns? Yeah. That was in a way, I think, to let him know, listen, it's about a person's identity, how they choose to identify themselves,
Very
so,
true.
He's treating all of this like a joke, which doesn't surprise me, honestly. And I honestly, I love the way that she replied, and I'm telling you, how are you supposed to get her answer when you won't let her speak?
Well, that's what they do.
Kept cutting her off, and that's honestly.
He wants to make her look crazy.
Yeah.
Hello.
But she was very to the point and professional. I am a woman.
Right.
So intelligent, and he couldn't take it. That's why he kept trying to talk over her,
I think it's interesting too that in the hearings for the new Supreme Court judge that was just appointed,
Judge Jackson.
That's it. They asked the same question, and I'm like,
They both replied
They did.
very well.
They
Like,
did.
they both
really
carried
well.
themselves.
But it's interesting that there's that thread of questioning now, that's happening. So we'll move on. It's time to queer up religion. Experts say GOP targets trans to keep evangelicals voting. Recently, Republican politicians have been pushing anti-trans bills more than ever before. While many Republicans don't care about transgender issues one way or another, studies show that the GOP is heavily dependent on the evangelical vote in order to win elections. The religious right's hard lines on social issues such as abortion, LGBTQ+ rights, and religion-based educational standards makes these key issues campaign platforms for Republican politicians looking to be voted into office. What do we say about that?
This doesn't surprise me. We've seen this time and time again. There is a large overlap between conservative religions and the Republican Party. That's just how it is. My family, I come from a family that is religious, and I have seen it myself, that their beliefs do overlap similarly. And I think that the fact that they keep playing into these I'm not saying that. Evangelical.
We'll just say evil. We'll say evil.
Maybe
Let's
it's
say evil.
Evil.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, these religious people, they have to keep playing into that, and I hate when people like to use the religion as an excuse to be hateful, when religion is supposed to be a loving and open thing, you know? And I really wish that they'd separate that, you know? Like not all religions are against LGBTQ plus people.
Right.
So that's where their main votes are coming from. And I think the reason people fear things is because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
So I think the best way to go about it is like, the way to get their votes is we have to inform these religious groups in who we are and that we're not the enemy. So that way we can slowly, it's like taking them, we're infiltrating their brains and taking them apart from the inside. That's
I think
how
it
we
was
take them down.
Stalin who said religion is the opiates of the people. And that is still relevant in this day and age, you know? It's very persuasive, you know?
You know, the whole thing of separation between church and state, and it doesn't go that way, especially lately. I remember growing up, my father was Republican, my mom is a Democrat, and I'm a Democrat. But I remember that it wasn't as blurred back then, like or I should say mixed with the religious right, far right, and the very conservative. You could be a Republican and not be an evangelical, you know?
Right.
But it just seems like lately, especially in recent years, it's more of that.
Overlap.
Like, yeah, the overlap. Yeah, exactly.
One thing that I will say that actually shocked me, which is that, again, you know, people, I said this before, people are going to do things in politics to get the popular vote, which stinks. But I will say that I do feel that this issue over time could change, because I, you know, was in a church, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and I couldn't believe that they had like a LGBTQ plus group, and I'm like, wow. And over the news, I'm seeing more and more celebrities who identify as very religious are coming into the community. So I think over time, as acceptance gets better and more people come into the community, this might, you know, blur itself out a little bit. So I hope, again, with time, as more people, more acceptance come about, that this, and it's politics, so there are going to be problems. Today it's this, you know, what's it going to be like
tomorrow?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I think it's church by church. I mean, I belong to a wonderful spiritual center that's very accepting of LGBTQ, the Center for Spiritual Living, and I think it's church by church, and little by little, when other churches see like churches like mine accepting and embracing our community, you know,
Right.
it's yeah. It's
And for me, I don't want to poo-poo over all Republicans. I have really close friends that are Republicans, family members, and they're very respectful. I think it's just the more extreme right, you know, Republicans that has, I guess, been the new thing over the last couple of years.
We could talk about this forever,
I know.
but I
We
know you have another story for us.
Well, let's queer up the USA view. LGBTQ activists say we need feminist solidarity on abortion and trans liberation. The fight against trans women has given right-wing politicians to bring the attack to cisgender women. Now that the leaked Supreme Court opinion has shown that Roe v. Wade is likely to be overturned, feminists are calling for solidarity between all women. Bodily autonomy, someone help me there.
Autonomy.
Bodily autonomy means that your body is your own. It means that you have the right to make decisions about your body and access to the means to carry out those decisions. It is the right that conservatives are trying to take away from all women. While some, like Harry Potter create, J.K. Rowling, believe that transgender women don't deserve the same rights as cisgender women, others point out that they have the same political struggles. What do you guys think about this?
I don't have an opinion on
Right.
this.
Well, listen, if I could have had children, I probably wouldn't have had an abortion, but I am definitely pro-choice. I'm pro-choice because women are going to do it regardless. Before Roe versus Wade, women were having abortions, but they were doing
dangerous,
it in dangerous
unsafe ways.
Exactly. And so, yeah, I just think it's funny. These men, it's a lot. Well, there's women that are anti-abortion, but a lot of these like misogynistic men, I'm like, really? What if we women told you what to do with your balls?
See, that's the thing. You don't see these people over here going, you need to get a vasectomy.
Yes.
No, it's just no, you can't have an abortion. Like, excuse you?
If cisgender men could get pregnant, this wouldn't be a conversation.
Oh my God, if cisgender
sure.
men could get pregnant.
I totally
Specifying
agree.
cisgender men could get pregnant, this wouldn't be a conversation.
That is powerful. Girl, you're right. If cisgendered men could get pregnant,
they'd be crying.
They couldn't handle it.
No.
You can't handle the truth.
I think in a lot of ways, women are really strong, but like from a doctor's perspective, what does this say about society? So telling a woman, I mean, there's so many ethical principles here. One was autonomy, but as a doctor, we always, raise our hand and say, do no harm. So from a mental health standpoint, what happens if women were forced into a decision they didn't want, such as having a baby, and it was really traumatic for them, and then there are things like postpartum depression that could develop.
Want to carry that child.
Right, and it's a lot. It's 9 months, but it's a significant amount of time, and I don't think that people really understand the mental health struggles of what could happen with a really traumatic pregnancy, which I've seen before.
Yeah, and the conversation shouldn't just be locked into women, queer people as well, because there are queer people who can get pregnant. And what if they don't have an access to an abortion? If that can, people with gender dysphoria, that can severely affect their mental health.
Right.
And the lack of access to safe abortions is going to raise the number of unsafe abortions and deaths. So if you want that 22-year-old woman that was sexually assaulted at her job to die from taking a bottle of pills trying to eliminate the pregnancy, go for it.
Oh.
It's crazy. I was having a conversation the other day with a friend of mine, and we were talking about this, and when she was 16, she had an illegal abortion. She's older than I am, and she's lucky that she lived through it. And from a healthcare standpoint, are we going to go back to like the 50s? And it's not helping.
Listen, it looks like it is going to be
reversed.
reversed.
It will be
and
reversed.
I'm going to tell you, it's going to be some stuff that goes down in this country. Women that are going to have to go to states that, they
might have to change locations to get what they want. I can't wait to see all the doctors kind of come up, because this violates so many ethical principles, not just like what I said before, do no harm. And I think the conversation shouldn't just be about abortion, but following that decision that was taken away from them, what could their future life be like, and how could it affect them?
And even in incest and rape, really, I'd love to see some of these conservative Republicans that, if their, God forbid, their daughter was raped, if they'd be, let's have the baby,
That's
and
the
let's.
thing they don't.
Yeah, I
follow.
couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
And I think for me as a physician, rape is like one of the #1 things to develop PTSD, and I just see a lot of problems with this.
And how is this also going to affect poverty levels, homelessness? I mean, this
overpopulation,
domino effects into so many other things. Overpopulation.
I love these states that are just trying to really totally make it abortion illegal, but their women and children care is lacking.
Yeah.
Like you're telling these women to have babies.
And then daycare is like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So are you going to support the babies when they get, there's so many issues.
They don't support the choice. They support the pregnancy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
They support the baby all up until they're born. That's it.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's that.
Yeah, and then it's like, what happens after?
Nobody wins.
Yeah.
Well, we're in for some turbulent times when it comes to this abortion thing.
Strap yourselves in.
Yeah.
But we still have to report on our partnership with the Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale.
I love you.
You too. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
This is Joe Saunders, former state representative and Equality Florida senior political director. And Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
And isn't it wonderful? We're in the middle of a gay church right now doing this fabulous newscast.
Right?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
See, this
Definitely had to bring that to everyone's attention. So we finished tonight's queer news headlines with what we call LGBTQ plus flash news. LGBTQ plus flash news. Sneak peek of Kevin Bacon's new queer slasher film, They, Them. Kevin Bacon is starring in a new slasher that takes place in an LGBTQ plus conversion camp.
Oh, God.
The name of the film is They, Them. And actually it's pronounced or said, They slash them. With a roster of LGBTQ plus stars in roles that represent the spectrum of gender identity and sexuality, it's a whole new type of horror movie representation. They slash them hits Peacock on August 5th. Well, I want to see this. I really do.
I'm watching that, and it's not going to let me go to any summer camps anymore.
I want to see it too, and let me just say I love Kevin Bacon.
I love anything that's called they slash them.
Yeah, it's
Right?
very creative.
It is very creative.
Yeah.
All right, next up, LGBTQ plus flash news. New reports show record violence against trans, but TV news spent just 43 total minutes covering the story. 2021 was the most deadly year for transgender or non-conforming people in the United States on record. A study by Media Matters showed that despite the violence towards the community, and especially towards individuals from the Black and Brown communities, only 43 minutes total broadcast time was dedicated to reporting on it, over just 19 total segments. MSNBC accounted for 2/3 of this coverage. Each other network covered the violence for just 5 minutes or less. I totally would have expected the opposite to happen. But one thing I will point out, a little bit here is, everything's always been about COVID. And so I noticed that everything's about COVID and so many other things got brushed on the back burner. But this is horrible. I mean, I can't believe the deadliest year. You think we're taking like one step forward, and then it's like we're taking 2 steps back.
And then when they're broadcasted, is it even with our names or our dead names? So it's like...
True.
I have no words. That's all I could say. For real.
I wonder how much we're actually using their names, and was it dehumanizing? Were the actual stories about people and people telling their story? Because if it's not humanizing, then what's a couple of minutes going to do? You really have to make it a more humanizing experience to resonate with viewers, so that way they understand more, so there can be change.
Yeah. And I think those numbers are also very conservative, because I don't think a lot of crimes are even reported.
Yeah, no, and I would say, aren't our lives worth more than that? I mean, but the good thing is, I remember back in the day when a trans woman was murdered, you heard nothing on the news. So at least we are getting some media attention, but it needs to be a lot more.
I agree.
We're better than scraps.
Yeah, no, I saw the numbers and it said 43 minutes, and part of me was like, oh my God, yes, 43 minutes, but then it's also Why is it only 43 minutes?
Yes.
Right.
LGBTQ plus flash news. Queer as Folk Reboot is here, and watch the first moments. Watch this.
Haven't seen you around. You a tourist?
Nah, I've been in Baltimore for med school. Well, actually, I dropped out.
Hot, smart, and afraid of commitment. Every gay man's type.
Honey, what are you doing here?
I lost my keys. Wow, you love a dramatic entrance. Dad is home!
Hi, girl. How are you feeling?
I'm kind of nervous. I've never performed on like a real stage before. I really want this.
And look at it.
Thank you, Mom.
Hey, the best way to get over someone is by getting under someone else.
Remember what happened?
Since that night, this entire part of myself that made me feel okay is gone.
We cannot do this without you, Dee.
Would you want to, like, hang out?
We were meant to grow old. Now these feelings take hold. Are we ever gonna be okay again?
All of us survivors struggle every damn day.
If one more person calls me brave,
Hey.
I'm gonna kick them full on it.
Actually, not survivors.
Hey, stop.
Thrivers.
Okay, never mind, he's trash.
You gotta stop blaming other people for your problems.
We gotta take control of our lives again.
This is how we should be honoring the victims.
Mingus has told me so much about you, and by so much, I mean he's been really cagey.
Mom, can you stop, please?
What's up, bitches?
What does someone wear to a sex party?
Tonight, remember our friends not as symbols, but for the messy ass sluts we know and love.
You ready to play, Chief?
What the gay hell? You know what that's called? Healing.
I want to feel alive again.
Whoa. Are you gay?
That gave me chills. Okay. Creator Stephen Dunn says his new version of Queer as Folk is a blend of the original British series, the American remake, and the events of the Pulse Massacre. Dunn said in an interview, quote, "Pulse is a specific event that targeted the Latinx community in Orlando. Our show is completely fictional, but the trajectory of our story is inspired by the realities of what that was like. Not just that night, but the aftermath and the way that the community of Orlando rebuilt in the wake of tragedy," unquote.
You can't say Pulse and not get teary-eyed.
Yeah, no, that gave me chills. I'm definitely watching that. I'm too young to remember any of that, or like all the emotions behind them, but like just seeing that, because you know how real it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely want to tune into that. I think it looks great. I think that there's this kind of media representation as well, just to, you know, continue to show and share stories. So I think it's great.
Yep. Okay, on to LGBTQ plus flash news. Trump judge rules okay for Christian teacher to misgender trans students. In March of this year, Kansas math teacher Pamela Richard sued her school claiming that LGBTQ plus anti-discrimination policies conflicted with her religious beliefs. The lawsuit claims that Richards was suspended for 3 days for dead naming a student and refusing to use their correct pronouns. This makes me sad.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, someone misgendered me the other day, and he knows me for many years, and he's still with this he. And I'm like, he never even knew me before I transitioned. He's always known me as this. And I was standing there thinking, honey, I'm standing here with these big old girls in your face.
Yep.
Okay, makeup, hair, nails done, women's clothing, and you're really gonna say he? You know, I didn't call him out then, but believe me, I'll get my opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's happened to me at school. I was at this new school, nobody knew me, I was transitioning, and the teacher was properly gendering me, and then she found out I was trans and started misgendering me, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry that, that it was like, it was an accident. But 5 minutes ago you were calling me he.
Right.
I think that this really makes me sad, especially, I mean, I work with kids, but kids really, their role models are teacher, parent. And so if teachers are given, you know, the ability to misgender, it could lead to potentially maybe they spill something to the parents. Teachers and parents talk. And that could essentially, what if the kid wasn't out and then essentially the teacher outed them? And what I will say as a doctor, it's been known that the coming out process is one of the hardest, most sensitive time periods in the whole transition journey, and one of the highest unfortunate times for completed suicide. And that's already tough with bullying. And so this is a really, I was really, you know, sad upon hearing this. But again, more work needs to be done, and that's why we're here doing this.
Yeah. Not just that, but it teaches kids that they're allowed to be disrespected.
Yeah.
Do you have anything on this
I
topic, Lana?
wasn't transgender in high school, but I was openly gay, and I remember that having a GSA at school and having teachers who were, you know, there and supportive fully, that's what made that coming out experience okay, because I didn't come out at home, I came out with my friends at school. So like, if your teachers aren't even like allowing you to be who you are, it just doesn't, that's a lot of kids' safe space at school.
It is.
Yeah, it sure is. Like I said before, this just really makes me sad, and working with safe schools and everything that's happening now, not just in Florida, but nationwide, we have to be here for our youth more than ever.
Lana?
Well, let's get to LGBTQ flash news. Here's why authors of The Transgender Child updated the book in 2022. The Transgender Child is meant to be a parenting handbook to help individuals with children who come out as transgender, provide resources and a safe, welcoming space for their child. With the filing of over 240 anti-trans bills in the U.S. just in 2022, the creators have updated their 2008 book with updated resources for parents to use, with the new legal attack on children being the focus on transgender children.
How do you feel about that?
Kids, they need a safe space, and they're not being able to have this at school, at home. So to have a book that's like, here you go.
Yeah.
How many parents have messaged you and said, hey, I don't know what to do. I have a trans kid, I think, and I don't know what to do about this.
Right.
What can you do to help me? I'm a 28-year-old adult film person. I don't know what to do. Yes. I don't know how to raise a kid or tell you what to do to help them. This book, this is a start. This is a place to go to.
Absolutely, I agree.
And from 2008 to 2022, a lot has happened. So
a ton has happened from 2008 until now. So
I was 2.
Oh my God! Now you're making me feel old. Okay.
That's just not right. Okay.
I'm sorry. I love you guys.
That's okay. We love you too.
Yeah. No. I mean, I remember as a kid all that I went through, the horrific bullying, you know, not only name calling but physical beat downs. And sometimes I sit today and think, God, like I made it through, because, you know, it was really bad, and I just don't know how I did. Thank God I did. And so I think this sort of thing is good, having the support for children, because that's when you're just starting out, you're trying to figure out your way, and you need that support. It's like the foundation.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I downplay it sometimes of like my experiences, because like, just, you know, coping through humor sometimes, but it's just like, it sucks sometimes, you know, like it can get pretty crappy sometimes. Like I completely switched schools because of my experience, and the fact that this book now exists, and if I know that my parents did an amazing job, but I think if they knew that book existed, it just, you know, would have done that extra little thing. And I'm amazed and so happy to have the parents that I do have, and I'm glad that this book also exists, you know, for all of those other parents of trans kids who don't have all of the access to information that I was able to give to my parents.
Sure.
I think a lot of parents and kids are really confused. And so I agree. I mean, I think a book, when I was in high school, I was bullied a lot. I didn't know anything. I was confused. There were no resources. I thought I was kind of alone, you know, in the world. So I think that having a book like this is a good start of something to turn to, especially there have been a lot of changes since 2008. But I do think it's a good thing because especially children, as I said before, it's a really time-sensitive point in their life. And believe it or not, inside the top 3 causes of death in children and adolescents is suicide, which is crazy. Not the same for adults. So that's what I mean by very time-sensitive.
Yeah.
So as more information comes out, people learn they're not alone. They have something to turn to, and then when that happens, then they can turn to social media and say, let me join a group, and you know, it gets the ball rolling, so they have resources to hopefully make suicide a lot of a lower number in that category.
For sure.
It's just kids need to know they're not alone.
That's the biggest thing.
And how do we get this book to parents that need it? You know, I would ask that question, right?
I think another part of the equation really is how to make parents understand the process better and become more open-minded, because if they're not open-minded, you're going to give them a book. What are you going to do?
No, in the early stages, I wish my parents had this book.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, that's it for today's news for the LGBTQ+ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ+ evening news show. Is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing, ring the bell for updates, share this news with your friends and family.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you're a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserve the attention of your family and friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ+ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ+ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I'm your anchor, Rajee Narine-Singh, and on behalf of these LGBTQ+ reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Evyn Almanzar, Franchesca, see, I didn't mess it up.
No, you got it.
Franchesca D'Amore, Dr. Dee Weitzer.
Close enough.
I'm sorry, Ed. And Lana Summers. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. Wishing you all a beautiful night. Bye. Namaste.
LGBTQ+ news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure